All right, welcome back everybody. Today we're just going to be doing a quick update on Trias. Try to do this, if not weekly, every 2 weeks, try to give you guys an update on this project. I know that that's been highly requested. So we're going to do chart analysis, price predictions, and then some recent news on Trias. So let's dive right in. First of all, want to just talk about what happened recently. Obviously, we had this nice little high that most altcoins had, mid to early November, and then we've fallen, 60 to 65% to today's levels. Similar to a lot of altcoins, and then obviously you see this particular downswing. That's when Bitcoin Bitcoin and Ethereum got massacred at the end of November. So what happened though on the downswing is we had a falling wedge form. We then tried to sit on top of the falling wedge and then sit on top of the fib. Didn't happen. We bounce again, and as we get rejected, we also have the Bitcoin news come out. So really no chance we had to get above that $17 fib level. Kind of back-to-back bad news for the chart there. So that's kind of how we ended up getting down here to 9-ish. 950, 980, dollars. So now I kind of want to talk about current levels right now that we need to watch, and then exactly what's going to happen here maybe in the future. First thing I want to point out, because this will give us some context for key levels. When we were on the downswing here, and we saw this with VRA2, we saw a pretty convincing head and shoulders form here, and typically that is a bearish pattern. And we saw that play out. But what's more important is what that creates is a neckline. And the neckline for this head and shoulders is right here. And it sits on the $17.20 fib. So this is going to be a huge critical level, because once you come below the neckline, really your next big resistance coming back up here, obviously we have to get past this fib. But I think we're going to see serious resistance and probable consolidation before $17 and change, before we sit on top of this. I would assume that there's going to be pretty decent consolidation between 13 and a half bucks and just over $17, just because the neckline, it tends to be a harder level to break above, and once you break above it, typically you see a thicker breakout to the upside. So really on the upside, when we actually start bouncing off, let's say let's assume Ethereum and Bitcoin behave. Obviously it's not looking great. In my opinion, I think it'll probably go down to 43, 45K. But assuming we bounce off of this, and why this bounce is so important, I'll show you right here. This bounce is what locks in and maintains our bullish upward trend here, coming from this last low. So if we end up falling back down to this area, that would kind of just negate the structure of the chart, the bullish structure of the chart. But if we bounce off here, that is kind of still intact, and that's kind of what we want to see. We want to see it ride, hopefully ride this trend line just kind of up, and then consolidate that way, and then hopefully sit on this eventually. But right now, the key level to watch, and the one that we're potentially bouncing off of right now, is that $9.50 fib level. And as we've talked about in previous videos, if you look here, we're actually bouncing off the 200-day EMA. And that tends to be in crypto and altcoins, if you trade a lot, 200-day, that seems to be, the kind of last resort support for a lot of these altcoins. So we have a lot of support under us. We have a fib and the 200-day EMA. So it will be pretty bad for Trias if we do fall below this 0.236 fib at 942. So really watch that. 942 is the key level that we have to bounce off of. If we bounce off of 942, the next target we're looking at is $13.60 roughly, 70 cents. And then after that, obviously we need to break that neckline. So key bounce coming here at $9.40. We have to look for that. And then once we bounce, like I said, 1370 will be our next target. So that's assuming the bounce. Obviously, if we don't, we might end up consolidating back in this area. That would be bad for the structure of the chart, as I said, but obviously always possible. So now that we've talked short term, that we're going to be kind of hopefully bouncing off 940 and heading back up to 1370. But like I said, we're going to probably be playing within this for a little bit and consolidating before we do that. So over the next few weeks, watch for 1370. But now kind of quickly going over, a couple of long-term realistic predictions. If we replicate, and we talk a lot about this on the channel, but if we replicate what we did here in the way that we went parabolic, so if we copy this and then also go off of the fib, we're looking at a top target up here of $127. And if you follow Trias pretty closely on Twitter, you'll see that a lot of people are talking about this $127 level, just because it's the top of the fib retracement from our last run up. But it also mimics essentially the same run, pretty much the same run that we had over here. So a lot of people are looking at, 127. I think, realistically, we need to be, at least hoping. I mean, given the way that Bitcoin and Ethereum have gone recently, obviously a lot of these predictions are now hinging on the fact that they behave. So if they behave, I think 115 to 130 is rather doable for Trias. And I say that because of, all the burning mechanisms that are coming in, the low supply, the low market cap. We just have a long way to run. It's half the market cap of VRA roughly, and it's already at 970, and we have a lot more way to run. So that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. To recap, key level we need to bounce off of is 942. And then we need to make it up to 1370 before we start seeing any serious movement back to the upside to retrace this kind of 65% slide that we saw. And then to get into price discovery, we're going to have to, first of all, shoot past this, but then hit this $32 previous high here. And then we will go into price discovery, and then you'll see us play between $32 and $50, and I'm assuming, hopefully by early Q1 we're in this area. This is where we want to be by early Q1. So what I mean by that is January, February, we want to be within $30 and $50 to give us a shot at that $127 target. So that's what I'm seeing. Let's hop into some news really fast. So first of all, Trias had a Ask Me Anything session just a couple of days ago, and they announced a lot of cool updates. So first of all, they're going to have 7 blockchains running side by side that allow for interoperability. And they're also in talks with, and we already kind of knew this, for exchange listings. And they're already working with clients and enterprises and they've built solutions that they're actually using and selling to enterprises. They have contracts in place. And they're really looking for ways to improve their ecosystem. So a lot of exciting news coming for Trias, and I think that we're going to see a lot of these bullish tailwinds come next year. The other thing I wanted to note is that they're being very, very careful in the way that they set up their ecosystem. So every edge of the ecosystem has some way that it benefits that end user. So whether it's someone staking Trias, whether it's someone using the ecosystem as an enterprise user, every single piece of the ecosystem is very, very well thought out, and it's going to keep supply really, really low. And they recently announced a 50% burn. So we're going to have 5 million Trias tokens out there. Some people noticed this a couple months ago when they were actually taken out of the supply. This is the official burning that's going to happen. So that we're going to have 5 million Trias coins instead of 10 million, which is great for that low supply shock that we always like to see in these types of altcoins. So that is what I have today for you guys on Trias. Let me know what else you want me to cover. Hopefully that was helpful. If it was, would really appreciate if you dropped a like. And let me know in the comments what else you want me to cover. But that's all I have today. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next video.